It works. Great. Now I just need to find... Okay, here we go. There's the chat. Hey everyone, sorry for the delay. I had to set up my stream because... Oh, I have my own sound on. This is great. Now I can hear myself duplicate. I had to set up my stream. We had some technical difficulties there. Thank you everyone for joining so far. I'll give it a second because I see that some Rado moved out at the very least, or walked away. So let's wait a few seconds before we get started.
Big rip.
Ah, there he is again. Okay. That pulled him back in apparently. There we go. Welcome to PiddyCon 5. So we'll be running through a lot of things today. It's been longer than we would have liked initially, since we had the last PiddyCon, because Solid, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was May last year that we had the last PiddyCon. At the time we presented, and let me start with that, we presented that we'd have PiddyCon more often. Know that that's still our ambition, and we'll try to do multiple this year rather than just a single one. But we wanted to kick that off today with the first one of 2023. So what we'll discuss is what you may have missed part. A large majority of this is already shared with you on Discord, but we do want to make sure that prior to us going over everything for 2023 and what we're working on, that we do have a recap of what we worked on last year, especially with only having had one PiddyCon last year. I just realized I'm not actually recording this, so let me press the record button there as well, so we can use this for Discord and anyone who's missed. Or actually, look, Twitch will automatically record it, won't it? Double checking.
Yeah. Twitch does store the recording for like 2 weeks or something, and I'll download it and upload it to the YouTube after that.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. You're a lifesaver. So we'll start with what you may have missed. That will be part me and part Eric, who will go through, or I should technically say Sala, who will go through statistics. I'll give you an update on what we did last year. Then we'll move into brand. We conducted a brand study with the help of our brand marketing and content department, of which Tiffany is one of our one of Team Liquid's employees there. Yep. Say hi to our resident ag. She'll be running us through part of that, and I'll be running us through part of that. We'll move into SMW Removal after, done by Rickard, or Rathos, as you will likely know him. We'll move into Liquipedia App, which will be presented by Rado. That will be about everything that we've done and everything that's to come. And then we'll move into custom Wiki software, and what our plan is there by your resident pizza enthusiast or lover, maybe even, looking in Alex's direction. Then lastly we'll end with the F1 Wiki, which is also presented by Rado Nidra, and then there will be plenty of time for you to submit any questions, and hopefully Richie will be able to help us out through monitoring those in chats and getting us all the questions that we need to get answered for you. So this really is about bringing everyone up to speed about what we've done, what we're planning, and we'll do one whole batch of Q&A at the end. Thank you for asking, Rado. I think that's easiest at the very least for us to stay in that presentation cadence, and then we can move back to the slides at the end if there are specific questions about specific slides. So if there is a specific slide you want to reference, let us know the title of it. We'll switch back to it. So yeah, let's without further ado, let's jump into it. So the what you may have missed. We have a couple of employee updates. So we have Jasper, or Vogan as you knew him, who left not only the Liquipedia team as the mobile full stack developer, but he also left the community, unfortunately. We had a great time with him on on the Liquipedia team, and also obviously on Discord. He was responsible for a large chunk of the Rocket League wiki in its infancy. So it's really we were saddened that he left. We do have a warm welcome for Dan or Davama on Discord. He is our new mobile front-end developer who replaces Jasper, and I believe he's in chat as well. If he is, Dan, give everyone a wave. But usually, or most of you will have probably seen him around on Discord already. And then we have another person joining, Killian. Coming Monday is his first day, and he'll be working as a web backend developer. He'll be working closely with Alex Fontax on the custom wiki software platform. More about that later during this PiddyCon. So about this is the 2022 recap, and we wanted to let you know that 2022 was really impressive for us. So we had 3 main wiki promotions. We had Mobile Legends Bang Bang, we had PUBG Mobile that split up from PUBG, and we had Brawl Stars, which was in 2023, but still worth mentioning for the recap since the last PiddyCon. Then we had 4 new Alpha Wikis or pre-Alpha Wikis launch, which were Brawlhalla, Naraka, Tetris, and Zulu. So that's an immense growth in the amount of games and esports we're covering. Then, as Sala was really happy to point out, I believe it's been since October, Eric, is that correct? That we've been hitting 1 billion pages viewed in the last 365 days. August, even longer. And 5 billion lifetime and going strong. So we're massively growing in the amount of page views, which is really cool to see. It shows how much Liquipedia is thriving and continuing to pave the way in esports, in my opinion. We've also released the Liquipedia app to the public, primarily on the Rocket League and Rainbow Six wikis or audiences that still are a use case there, and we'll look into hard launch it this year, which means we'll make a far bigger marketing push and really want it to shine. And it was released to the public earlier, obviously to get all of your opinions and help us shape the app. And lastly, we held a strategy on-site with all the employees, and that's the pictures you can see on the right. We used it to determine our focus for 2023, our biggest opportunities, our biggest blockers, and also to look back at what we did in 2022 and why we did the things that we did, why we looked into certain business opportunities, who our competitors were, how we can make sure that Liquipedia as a product, as a brand, and us as the employees as well, make sure that all of that is still aligned with what the core focus is of Liquipedia and the community that drives Liquipedia. And obviously, we also wanted to have some fun, so we went out for dinner and drinks and hung out at the office as well. All in all, it was a really good time, and we wanted to share that with you too. Eric, take it away.
Thank you. So, sadly, 2022 had some of the lowest relative traffic and visitor growth in the last couple of years. As you can see by this graph, it was not great. It does come after like the absolutely best year in terms in both relative and absolute growth of 2021. So it wasn't too weird that there was some slowdown. And we see with 2023 that we have again started having 20 plus growth for both of these two metrics. So we're hopeful for the future that we'll keep growing at a fairly fast pace going into 2023. Oh, what? There we go. Apparently my remote goes the wrong way. So we have a lot of cool things happen in 2022 still though. We had 12,000 new contributors sign up and start doing their most likely one edit, but still, that's I think the biggest number we've had so far. And almost 100,000, only 99,000 new pages were made, but 1.6 million edits, also the biggest one we have ever seen. So the wiki itself is growing the fastest ever in terms of content and in terms of how much is being added to it. Also, we have another metric, which is the number of wikis we have that is over 1 million monthly page views per month. And we have 2 months in 2022 where we had 14 wikis simultaneously have over 1 million page views reached in the same month. And as you can see, I've added lots of small annotations here, but in 2018 we started really investing heavily into the Alpha Wiki program with hiring Marilla Ritchie, and since then the graph has really started on a different sort of angle, and it's really nice to see that it keeps on going even now. And in 2022 we also started investing again even more heavily, adding 2 more Alpha or Wiki managers. Right, shit, lost my, there we go. And the last slide, or the last graph I have to present, I also presented last PiddyCon, which is the mobile versus desktop across a couple of different metrics. What we can see with this is that the growth of the number of visitors, the share of number of visitors is growing quicker for mobile than it is for desktop, which shows that there's a really strong interest in using the wiki or engaging with Liquipedia on mobile, but with all the other metrics not having the same growth for mobile, it shows that they are not engaging as deeply or as often with Liquipedia. And it really shows there's a massive potential here if we do fix or update our design on mobile web or add an app. So we obviously went for going for the app, and it really shows that this is a very solid choice for us, and it's definitely good to see that we have a lot of mobile interest when we are about to really fully launch the app. But thank you so much. That's all for me this time.
Yeah, so I just also want to give a quick shout out to the Lua MVPs, as I call them. So like we have the old foxes that have been around forever. Their legacy still lives on, even if they're not as active anymore. So DHE, Spacer, Quadrat, your code still lives with us. The things you started, we still continue doing today. Martin, I'm Marbart. You've always been around, always been the one to go to for whatever, almost. Salt, Dark, and Fenrir starting to come up more active during the last year in developing Lua for the wikis. And HAP, well, you're the Superman. Take it away, Job. And tip.
Yeah, sorry. So I see someone in chat asked about the typing as well. That was me. I was trying to answer one of the questions in Twitch chat, but apparently wasn't logged in, so I didn't send either. Sorry about that. Make sure that doesn't happen again. Then we'll move into brand. So as I said, as a precursor, we looked into our brand, not because we don't know what the brand name is or the values that we stand for, but we wanted to make it more solidified. Liquipedia has grown organically. It started in 2009 and it's gone through several iterations and changed directions every once in a while, but I think naturally we all know what Liquipedia stands for, what we do, why we do it, but there have been questions raised in the past about certain decisions that we're making, and at points there were questions about the associations with Team Liquid, which is still our parent company. So what we would try to do this year is we try to solidify our brand. We try to put it on paper as well, what Liquipedia means, what it stands for, and hopefully none of this comes as a real surprise, because it should align with everything that that the community stands for as well. But we want to present it with you as what the brand is, how it will help us shape the future of Liquipedia, because it's something we'll keep in the back of our mind when making any decision that we want. Do note that brands can always change, so let's say 20 years down the line it might not be fully the same, but this is what we've currently solidified it as, and hopefully it captures everything that you think Liquipedia stands for. So first off, I want to start with the elephant in the room, the associations that we have with Team Liquid. As you know, Liquipedia is part of Team Liquid. We call it a derivative product brand. We're one product that is part of Team Liquid's full product portfolio. But there are a couple of distinctions that we make. So we have the core esports brands, which is the Team Liquid, all the Team Liquid esports teams and esports players. There are extensions of that same brand, and then we have non-Team Liquid brands. And basically, we're a non-Team Liquid brand. We fit in as a sub-brand, but not necessarily part of Team Liquid. So how does this help us? How does this change what we do? Basically, we live within the same company as a department, and we have shared values and a purpose, namely to be a leader in innovation and competition in a thriving esports industry. What that means for Team Liquid is different from what that means for Liquipedia. And we're not necessarily tied to all the decisions that Team Liquid makes, where in terms of our product, where we can make our own decisions, we're able to make specific decisions about topics that are near and dear to us, and we get the freedom to do so. The one thing that this association does allow us to do, and I believe we didn't capture it in the next slide, but one of the things that it does allow us to do is it allows us to make use of resources that we otherwise would have to pay for ourselves. So let's say a legal team, human resources, for some business purposes and advertising purposes, we can make use of a sales and partnership team. So there are a lot of ways that we can leverage the employees that Team Liquid has to our benefit without having to be main responsible for the cost, and I think that's the largest benefit. To paraphrase everything that I've just said, know that we can act on our own largely, especially on decisions that we make on Liquipedia, the website, and decisions that we make on Liquipedia App, and it's mainly a boon that we can use the resources that Team Liquid has as well. Then let's move into the actual Liquipedia brand. So who are we? We're the most widely used objective resource in all of esports. I think this is a how do I say it in English? I want to say an open door, but that's the Dutch translation. But this is the obvious one, right? I think everyone can agree with this. Our core tenets are that we looked into what is our purpose, what's our mission, what's our philosophy, and how do these three drive our day-to-day decisions, both on a strategic level but also on an operational level. So how do we want to make sure that we shape the products for the community? How do we want to make sure that we shape the products in a way that also fits the esports scene and the esports that we all love? So our purpose is that we want to make information easy to use and easy to understand. So we want to make sure that as we've done historically, or as all of you have done historically, is taken like bits and pieces of information, putting them together into a Liquipedia on the specific wikis, and making sure that if anyone is interested in any esport, that they're able to really understand what went on, what the latest updates were, and all of that. And I think the whole community and employee team together have been able to do this super successfully, because that's the full reason why we're as big as we currently are. We also want to be, or what our mission is, what our point of view is, that we want to be the go-to trusted source of objective knowledge in esports. So if anyone out there would say, hey, do you know what happened 3 years ago in a match between TSM and C9, or name anything, you'd be able to go to the specific wiki on Liquipedia and you'd find out. There is no debate about whether that's true. It just is, because it's on Liquipedia. That and an extension of that is that we want to grow the affinity for Liquipedia as being a helpful resource as well. So ideally, in the end, like nowadays we say, hey, you want to I'm going to Google something is the way of saying, I'm actually trying to find information and find an answer. We want Liquipedia to be that for esports. We want people to say, hey, I'll go to Liquipedia to find out. And then our philosophy behind the products, behind the brand is we are for the esports community, by the esports community. Everyone can contribute. It should be a safe place for everyone to share their opinions about esports as well. We want to make sure that everyone who is interested in esports feels welcomed, both on the Liquipedia products, within the Liquipedia brand, on the Discord, and all the extensions of it that we have, whether it's social media as well. There's like a embracing the full part of the community, including everyone who's interested. That is represented in our values. So we are community centric. We try to be as objective as we can, so not offering bias or favorability. We're precise in the information that we do put on the website. We make sure we fact check. We make sure that our resources are mentioned. We're accessible. So it should be available to all and designed to be easy to use as well. That means that contributing should be as easy as possible, but also finding the information that you want is as easy as possible, regardless of any disabilities that you might have. Ideally, we'd be able to accommodate for color blindness or people who only use a mouse or a keyboard, anything in between. We want to be we value integrity, so we respect each other, we respect the community, and we want to be empowering. So we want to make sure that everyone who wants to contribute to esports can contribute to esports and feel that Liquipedia is the place for them to contribute to esports. Now, Tiff, would you be able to help me with this slide? Because
Oh yeah, absolutely. Voice and tone. Yeah, go for it. Start us off.
No, I was going to say, so for everyone who doesn't know, I briefly introduced, but if you tune in a bit later, Tiff is from our brand marketing and content team within Team Liquid, so she helps out from a Team Liquid perspective, one of the resources that we can leverage, and we're very happy that we can use her.
Cool. Hi guys, I'm the local egg. So I'll go right into voice and tone. This is a lot more on like communications and sort of how Wikipedia presents themselves to like the general public for everybody, right? So Wikipedia is personal, objective, firm, coherent, accessible. These are all within Wikipedia's values. And Wikipedia is not like definitive, like we are not partial, like biased, malleable. We're not constantly doing one opinion and then the next opinion always changing. Obviously Wikipedia evolves, but that's different from like changing your mind at like a light switch, right? It's not abstract, we're not edgy, not haughty, sort of just like accessible, again, coherent. Those are things that Wikipedia is in terms of communications and copy versus like what we are not, right? If you think like, imagine Wikipedia being FaZe Clan. Yeah, that's that's not who we are. We'll go right into, I don't know if my controller is working. Oh my god.
It works, but the first time you use it, it goes back one slide.
Yeah, it's a little. All right, so I'll go right into visual identity. This is my bread and butter. So a note on visual identity, right? It's a representation of the brand, of Wikipedia's values, right? It's who we are. And with Wikipedia's growth, right, it comes with maintenance. It's always like a garden. We gotta do some maintenance. So the next few slides, we're gonna cover some updates to how Wikipedia looks, right? But we want to clean up and refresh to better reflect the brand in the future as well. So I'm just going to slide right to the next one here. So what changed about the Wikipedia logo? Not a lot, really, but I meticulously positioned, proportionally adjusted. It's it's a little bit more accessible, just sort of thickening the strokes, making it more visible. Colors are also just slightly changed due to some of the product designs that are already in the upcoming app, right? And those are all meticulously workshopped already. And so unifying the product colors with the brand kind of makes everything come together all at once. Yeah, so that's what changed with the Wikipedia logo. We also have the official, as you know, the inverse version. It's here to stay, much to my dismay, but it is there. It works, and it's also with all the new changes. Comes with the dark mode version as well. There's also, Wikipedia is everywhere, right? We need to have various versions of the brand for adapted across different platforms. So we now have dedicated clear space. Like now there is a specific guide, which is half of the icon. And versions of the logo has been specifically simplified to adapt for really tiny, tiny sizes as well. So you can see as it gets smaller and smaller, it gets way more simplified just to make sure it's super visible. And I think that's really, really all the visual changes that you can really see. There's obviously more if you want a deeper guide into it, but I think more importantly about that visual refresh that I talked about, you know, the visual identity, again, we want to accurately reflect the brand values. And so the current identity, Liquipedia, and the horse inside the puzzle piece, is functional, right? It all works, but we feel like a refresh is needed to better represent the community, the legacy. So everything you just saw, like Liquipedia as you know it, is actually open to change. And, the goal is to unify the brand across all platforms, including the website, including the app. It's important to know that brand is not the same as product, but they are closely aligned, right? The product is a branch of the brand, and we want everything to feel together and unified. We know inconsistencies exist, right, everywhere, but it's being worked on. But we need your help to kind of find that best end result. So, what's coming? To foster some transparency and collaboration with the upcoming refresh that we want to do, we're going to implement something called an open design process that allows everyone's voices to be heard. So we're likely going to share like our current assumptions or what we need help with validating. The design team will guide and curate the process while welcoming feedback from you guys in all kinds of forms. We'll take, if you want to do like written comments, that's great. Paint scribbles, if you record interpretive dance, we'll accept anything. Any kind of critique, any kind of feedback during the process, we are happily going to welcome those. This does not mean that we are crowdsourcing feedback. We're not going to be expecting free spec work, and we're not going to be relying on community vote. This is purely something that we want to show the process and make sure you guys are looped in on what we are thinking about and how we're going to do it. So more details to come. We'll likely distribute a survey in the near future, and we can appreciate your continued support and look forward to making cool shit together. That's it.
Awesome, thank you. I think the current logo love goes to the Estonia flag with a couple of people saying yes horse. So overall, people are liking your drawing so far, Tiff.
On anything, guys. It's open. It's all open to change, but stay tuned for the process.
Rickard, take it away.
All right. Yeah. SMW removal. So, what is all this about, and what have I been mostly working on for the last couple of months, and will be working on for a couple more months. So, SMW is a form of database storage on the wiki for wiki pages, basically. It's been used on Liquipedia for stuff like the achievement tables on player and team pages, for the match list and match tickers on the front page, for automatic standings that are being calculated from matches. And it has been on Liquipedia since 2013, 2014, somewhere around there, so about a decade. And yeah, Alex here didn't know which year, so we blame Eric for that. And what we're aiming to replace it with is LPDB, or Liquipedia Database. That's a product we built on our own. I believe mostly Alex built it back in 2018. And it's been slowly and gradually replacing SMW since it was born. It's more fit for us. SMW is not necessarily a bad product, but it's not the best product for us. This is a custom built product that does what we want and need it to do. a lot more efficient. Because SMW for us is super inefficient. SMW is the root cause for almost all outages of various severities, including like Wiki going down entirely, like probably know the server is down error message, or just the wiki being slow. It also is a root cause of many like weird issues, I will put it, that require a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of development time, developer time going through that. And because of those reasons, it's something the team has wanted to remove from Liquipedia for many years. And why do we do it now? Why, when we have wanted to remove it for 5+ years, are we doing this right now? Well, because SMW version 4 would be a mandatory upgrade for us by September. And the estimations we did earlier this year, end of last year, was that doing the upgrade would be about as equal much as work as removing SMW from, hence that we want to get rid of it, and we will create a more stable platform by doing it. We decided to get rid of it. And there's a few caveats, like in addition to just everything on the wiki, we also have the API. The API is a way for people who enter data at Wikipedia and others to also get data in a structured form back. For instance, there are a few Warcraft websites, a few Age of Empires websites that are heavily reliant on our data. It's our way to give something back to the community, or one of them at least. And the current API is entirely based on what's stored in SMW. So we're replacing it with a new LPDB API, which is a modern REST API, I would put it. It's what you would expect, or at least a lot closer to what you would expect from a API these days compared to the SMW one, which is very, very hard to use. And for this transition, we will have a 2-month period where we will have both of them live, and we will provide support to the current users of the SMW API. And the timelines for both on the wiki to get rid of SMW. The first phase, which was finished earlier this week, was that all wikis now store LPDB databases or LPDB data in the database. This is standardized across all wikis except Smash, Fighters, and Brawlhalla, which just very special things with placements and brackets. Not going to go into more details on that, but yeah. And then for removing SMW entirely, which means we need to change all the achievements tables and match tickers, etc., that are automated by FMWs. The goal to do that is during July, so in the next 4 months. For the API, it will be available for current SMW users in a month, and then we will have the 2-month transition period. And because, well, many of you might have noticed that some stuff have been broken during the wiki transitions over the last couple of months on your wikis. If there's still issues that are broken or things that are still broken, feel free to report them. Template help or bugs. And we're also now with more that the data stored is standardized, we can also make sure we will make sure everything, the data calling is also standardized. So everything will, if there are broken things, it will start working again soon. That's it from me.
Thanks, Rickard. Hi guys, I'm Nidra, here to talk about what's new in the Liquipedia mobile app world. Yeah, first of all, I kind of want to shout out to the team. As you heard from Job, there's been some changes on who's working on the app now. We have Anshul, aka Cookie, leading the small but very talented dev team. He's joined by Dan, one of our new hires. They've been working really, really hard to, push some cool features. We have Kevin joining as our new dedicated designer, not just for the app, but for the app, for the website as well. Again, doing awesome things, awesome designs. As usual, we have Rados because we cannot really do anything without him because he is the knowledge bank of Liquipedia and our LPDB wizard. And of course, Jody, who is still a product design manager and resident bread baker in the morning. So again, if something cool is in the app, he's probably signed off on that. Now, we launched the app in October, but we realized that it had some early problems, which prompted the soft launch that Yob mentioned earlier. We decided to do like a limited marketing push and just started gathering early feedback, early bugs, and then work towards actually making the app feel great and look great before we could do like a marketing push. This has actually been our goal for the past quarter, and it's going to be our goal for 2023. We want to perfect the fundamentals of the app. We want to make an app that looks and feels great, but is also easy to navigate, easy to find information everywhere. Basically, you never need to get lost. You never really need to search a lot to find just the information you need, exactly like you would do on Wikipedia Web. And this is like all of the new features that we've been doing, all of the new visuals that we've been pushing are geared towards this. On the right, for example, you can see one of the new screens that are going to come to the app rather very soon, which is a way to basically browse whole games in a more convenient way. If you're familiar with LP Web, you will be very at home in this screen. So you can see feature tournaments, trending pages, better segregation of ongoing and upcoming tournaments, all of that good stuff. Uh, in February, we also shared our roadmap for the year, and I want to talk a bit about how we've been progressing. So when we wanted to make the app look great, we needed to start at the very beginning, at the very foundation of it, which is the new updated visuals. Credit about this again goes to Kevin. He did an amazing job. But yeah, essentially now we have, let's call it dark theme colloquially, but officially it's a brand restructuring, brand revamp, new visuals. I know all of you guys have wanted like a dark looking app, so we decided to just kill two birds with one stone. Now we have a cool looking app, and we're also using this darker theme, like new visuals, as a foundation for all new features. Basically, everything else we come up with, everything else we design, we put on top of these awesome visuals. We've also delivered two other improvements on the app, which are basically geared towards improving the home screen. Basically, the first thing you see when you log into the app. We completed work on the new upcoming section, which you will see like a screenshot of it, and maybe you've seen it in the Discord um, previously. But yeah, a lot more structured, a lot more clear to find matches and tournaments and all of that. We are also updating we also created a new onboarding experience that basically this is going to help new fans that will come out like with the hard launch to set up their home better. You can now follow your favorite teams, your favorite tournaments straight from onboarding on top of just like the games that you follow. So your first experience with the app is going to feel much, much better. Once we complete the next two epics for Q1, which are improved navigation around following games and managing the things you follow, basically your favorites, and also a new results section, we are going to look to do the hard launch, the official launch. Right now, we're looking tentatively as late May, but I don't really want to give like hard promises. But this is kind of like our timelines for now. Then beyond that, in Q2, we also want to improve how you browse tournaments. We're looking at possibly designing different states for tournament pages. So if it's an ongoing tournament, you will see like brackets and standings on top. If it's a completed tournament, you will see like more pertinent information like final standings, prize pools, and all of that, instead of just having like to click through the same boring page and like millions of screens like you have to do now. We're looking to enrich the match pages. So when you open a match page, you will see like view these there, drafts, map scores, all of this we want to come and work on in Q2. Later on in the year, we obviously want to add improved notification system so you can subscribe to whole tournaments or whole teams, players, whatever. I saw somebody asking in the chat, yeah, man, it's coming. We know it's a bit of a bother to subscribe to like 1,000 matches one at a time. We all want to improve on this. And again, the big part is actually just adding more wikis to the app. We're going to start with Overwatch, Wild Rift, and Mobile Legends. just because, let's say, they're easier for us to do, but obviously then we're looking at other big hitters. StarCraft 2 and Brood War have been hugely requested by everybody, like in Discord, app stores, everywhere. They're not forgotten. They will be in the app. We just need to get to them. And then towards the end of the year, we're looking at making a move at including the Battle Royales. So very ambitious roadmap. If we execute all of this, I think we're going to have like an amazing app that everybody's going to love to use. That brings me to my next slide, which is kind of like a call out that please keep your app updated, because we are really, really working, face down. We're pushing a lot of features. There's new builds coming up basically every couple of weeks. At least once a month, we're trying to push something big. So yeah, turn on automatic updates, or like keep an eye on Discord. We post change logs and updates very often. You will often see like Kevin, presenting his work, like prototypes. And we really actually want your opinion, all of this feedback. Like when we say we want to build your Liquipedia app, we do really mean your Liquipedia app, right? It's not just built for you, but it's built with your feedback, your buttons, your suggestions in mind, right? Basically all of these improvements, they're possible because we got so much amazing feedback since launch and during the beta, like in August. So I'm gonna cut it here because there's a lot more to talk about, but I'm excited for the future. The team is amazing. We've been making great progress. You will be seeing a lot of cool stuff about the app. So yeah, keep it updated. Tell us what you like or don't like about it on Discord. And I think I'm gonna throw it to Alex for the next one.
Yep, that would be mine then. So I'm here to talk about the custom wiki software. Now, what is that? The custom wiki platform project is essentially about us building our own wiki software. As some of you are aware, MediaWiki is something we're getting from Wikipedia, and MediaWiki is primarily developed for Wikipedia. And because Wikipedia is doing very different things to what we are doing, it's not necessarily always working great for what we're trying to do. There's a bunch of common examples for that, like the variables for like var define is a common one for template editors, which is very terribly supported in MediaWiki. Also things like Liquipedia DB, not necessarily super easy. And with some of the upcoming updates, it's actually getting worse. So recognizing that problem, we've decided that we're gonna go and build our own. We're also hoping that this is going to save us some time down the line. Yeah, I understand this is a huge investment right now for us, but hopefully we're not going to spend half a year every 2 years for like a MediaWiki upgrade, which will then break a bunch of things, stuff like that. And ultimately, this should make it so we can maintain this website better. This should make it so that we can change the things that we want to change more easily. It should make it so we're able to like do things that we want that are very hard with Wikipedia software, like that dark mode that we're currently working on. Like a lot of the things we have, a lot of you will remember the review form at the bottom of page for editors. Very much not made for dark mode, so it's a lot of work from our side to like make these things work. And at the same time, also it says there on the screen, right? Like who's actually ever used the drop downs? We can probably just get rid of them, like leave it at 2 buttons, like, yeah, this is okay, no, this isn't, for like saying we don't want it, then that's that. What will this project look like? Clearly we can't go and like toss out the entirety of what we have right now. Liquipedia is a website that's going 15 years old now, at least publicly. And as a result, there's a lot of moving parts. For better or worse, we're going to have to do this in multiple steps. That means we're going to be gradually replacing parts. Most likely, this will start with the website rendering itself. That means we'll have the parser, like going from wiki code and Lua modules and templates to like the actual HTML that we're using. And for a while, this will coexist with the old website. Particularly parser, we can also bring over and then like for our own purposes. That should make it a lot easier for us to develop this down the line. as it's a lot easier to bring in a bunch of small dependencies than it is to go and bring the entirety of MediaWiki and then try and like remove things from there. What will this look like for you? What will this look like for visitors? Particularly for visitors, we're looking to not have much change that's visible to the visitors. Mostly, this will be a success if we can move on from MediaWiki and basically nobody notices. Now for editors, this will clearly have some changes. There's a bunch of things we're using right now, like PWikiBot is a very popular tool in our community, which obviously is very much built around the MediaWiki API. And I mean, if any of you has ever tried to do anything with the MediaWiki API directly, it's a little bit of a nightmare. So we're going to build a new thing like it. We're going to build a different API that will have the features that we need. And that also means that we can bring that back the LPDB API into the main website, because at the moment, you might have seen a bunch of screenshots earlier if you were looking at the screens in Ricard's slides. At the moment, that's separate for performance reasons, mostly because MediaWiki isn't particularly fast. So we're looking to like speed things up there a little bit. Now, we need your help for that, because there's ultimately a lot of different people contributing to this website, a huge community. I mean, our Discord has like some 22,000 people or something right now, and there's a lot of like hundreds or thousands of editors. I don't actually have the numbers at hand right now, but there's a lot of you. And all of you are doing different things. The things that I've edited when I was editing results was for sure different than what a Valorant editor or a League of Legends editor is doing these days, right? So we need to figure out which parts of MediaWiki are we using. MediaWiki, as you know, as I said earlier, is made for Wikipedia. There's a bunch of things in there that we're not using. However, there are some things that we're most certainly using, like in Valorant, we have the Valorant DB website, or we have the stream page, stuff like that, which are very commonly used also, things like login, logout, stuff like that. Because I don't know, and realistically nobody from this team does, we're gonna have a questionnaire. We're gonna ask you about which parts of this website are we actually using? Which preferences should we have? Which parts of the API are relevant? Like, I understand editing is important. Do we necessarily care about being able to list pages in reverse from Alphabet? I don't know. We're gonna have the questionnaire. You'll tell us what we need. That questionnaire will come somewhere down the line, probably not this month or next month, but somewhere in like the latter half of the year, as we figure out the different parts that go into building this website. And now what's the timeline going to look like for that? I mean, as you can imagine, this is a huge project. We've been building this website for 14 years. There's clearly things that we can take over, like our game API integration, stuff like that. There's other things that we'll definitely want to change, like the account system, for example, is a common one that keeps coming up. It's too hard to like work with. So clearly this is going to take us a while. We've currently been estimating for about 2 years. However, as with most software, and particularly a website like ours, there isn't going to be a point where everything's done. At some point, there will be a point where we're going to be happy enough. At that point, we'll go and shut down the MediaWiki install, which we're going to run in parallel until we have the functionality we need fully implemented in our website, in our new platform. However, that will also mean that there is a chance that certain features will not be available for periods of time. For example, there might be a situation where the API allows you to, like, for example, purge all pages by a category, but not by alphabet for a while, because maybe we don't care about purging by alphabet so much. Things like that. Ultimately, the project, as I said earlier, was motivated by MediaWiki changing, and because of that, we also have a target date, which is pretty much the end of life of MediaWiki 1.39. We are still going to upgrade to this MediaWiki version this year, and after that, there is a good chance that MediaWiki flat out wouldn't work for us anymore. And as a result, we would dearly love to get rid of MediaWiki before that day happens. And that's pretty much it for the custom wiki platform, wiki software platform. And I'll give it back to Rado, who will talk a little bit about Liquipedia and F1.
Yep, thanks, Alex. So yeah, Liquipedia F1 Wiki, this is a project that potentially most of you are familiar with. We announced it kind of like in February, and it's Wikipedia's way to test the waters for essentially a sports expansion. Again, before I start with the presentation, shout out to the guys that work day to day on this one to make it great. Saleh, this time no blame Saleh, although it says so in the slides. Saleh has been like my partner in crime. We kickstarted the project together. Huge F1 fan, so awesome to have him. Working on the wiki. Richie's team of Hesketh and Kano again did a lot of work in terms of content, suggestions, and how to set up stuff. We have Kevin once again as the Liquipedia designer, currently actually working to improve the main page to make it look awesome. Rathos, because as I said, nothing gets done without Rathos, so yay. And our newest member of the team, JW Snorlax. Some of you might have already talked to him. He did some interviews around brand study. He is like a product and strategy apprentice. So I look forward to him talking to you a bit more down the line. Now, as I said, we announced the project last month. Well, yeah, 6 weeks ago, I guess, because it's April now. And we've seen an absolutely astonishing alpha stage phase. Initially, we anticipated that for our initial launch goal, we would need about 2 months of work to get the wiki ready. With the help of you all, we kind of finished it in under 2 weeks. So that's been awesome. The project was extremely warmly welcomed by everyone. There's been like huge enthusiasm about it. The F1 channel is buzzing every day, especially around race weeks. We have dozens of contributors that help grow the wiki since, and at some point, especially like in the honeymoon phase of the first couple of weeks, the updates were done so fast that I could barely update like our to-do checklist. So yeah, I kind of want to shout out, like if any of you guys are watching this, the shout out really goes to because you're the MVP. So Dark, Ronan, Okie Dokie, Beast, Dino, Hawk, Aussie, Glaive, Enwaj, Siget, Salt, Lolly, FTW, Adiko, Bassin CC, Pascal. There's probably a bit more people that I'm forgetting, but you guys are the real MVP. Thank you for making the wiki so awesome in such a short time. Couldn't have done it without you. Now, speaking of launch goals, we actually had a very humble target. We didn't really want to bite more than we could chew. This is taken out of my initial presentation about the project. We really wanted to get like 6 fundamental page types, so drivers, seasons, constructors, circuits, and races, and of course the main page. As of like a week removed from our target launch, which is late April, we've done 4 of those goals already. Not just that, but things like season results and drivers include way more than the initial launch goals. I think like seasons we have dating back to the 2010s. So like, yeah, 15 years of almost like results are already in the wiki. We're currently working on the main page redesign to structure the information better and make navigation more intuitive and easy. And also we're working on setting up the circuit pages. Part of that actually is designing our own circuit layouts. So we looked at like, hey, what can we use? Can we use other people's like other website circuits? We decided not to. Like even the free ones, they didn't do it for us. So we went to Team Liquid's graphics team. Zach, if you're watching this live or in video, shout out goes to you and tell him, Zach, make us some cool fucking graphics. So Zach came back and delivered. Basically, every race layout will have kind of like 3 variations. The left one that you see is like a monochrome icon version that we can use for thumbnails or the main page to like list the calendars. The middle one is like introduce the sector colors, DRS zones. We want to use this for maybe info boxes for tracks. And then the third one is basically our detailed layer where we can add things like turn numbers, like corner titles, trade titles, speed traps, detection zones, whatever we want really. Again, it's probably going to be up to the community to innovate how we actually present like these circuit layouts. We're obviously looking to use these files, which again we will be able to modify as we see fit instead of borrowing other people's. We can use them to do historic layouts, so how trucks have changed throughout the years. These are already looking fantastic in my opinion. I've been really, really happy. Like they give, it's very like our own look instead of like stealing others. So yeah, we're gonna look to complete all of these truck pages probably by the end of the month, and then start doing some more cool stuff. Uh, I want to also, before we, like, as I've reached the end of the presentation, another shout out to everyone. So, as I said, we had like very humble launch goals, but as of now, we are having like almost a dozen improvements, just like things that have been done to pages that we didn't even think about, or we thought but said like, okay, this is gonna maybe take too much time. But again, the Liquipedia community proving once again that it's going to be unmatched forever and ever in the way and speed to which it ideates, innovates, and implements cool shit. We've had now like you can go to the wiki and find race summaries, tires and pit stop strategies, drivers of the day votes, penalties, retirements, changes. We have transfers going back to the 60s. I forget the name, but somebody found, for example, like the Williams team history going back to like the first years of the team and did it all in 2 days. So whoever did it, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, but yeah, amazing work done. Um, so I basically ran out of slide space to include all of the cool shit done, and I'm sure there's gonna be more. I think we did like now fastest laps we're showing on results grids. Now the project obviously is not done. It's gonna keep growing. It's gonna keep being awesome, but we still need help. So if you're a Formula One fan or just want to help the wiki grow, come and talk to us. There's work to be done for editors. There's work to be done for people who just want to give some cool feedback or just like innovate ideas. The most thing we need help with is logging in race week results, so qualifier practice and Grand Prix lap times, standings, and all of that. These have been a bit hard to do, just like timely. We usually update them, but like a couple of hours later. Ideally, we want to speed up this. We are also looking to hire a dedicated Formula One wiki manager who will basically work on the day-to-day to make the wiki even more awesome and grow it even further. So yeah, if you like Wikipedia, like motorsports, want to put these together and make some money, look out for the job ad. We're gonna post it after we finalize it. Whenever this will be, it's on Yob. So Yob, let's do it quickly. We need people. Let's get people paid. So yeah, come join the team, be part of the Wikipedia Sports Pioneer Club, whatever you want to call it. Drop me a DM or drop Rich a DM or just hang out in the chat, in the channel. It's gonna be a great year for Wikipedia and particularly Formula One. I can feel it. So yeah, I think that's all of it actually, right? Yeah. I think we need to go to the Q&A now, right?
Yes, the job ad is coming soon. I hope to have it finalized in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, thanks for calling that out. Also, let's see, we're losing Rickard due to sunlight or lack of that. Lack
Yes,
thereof.
because of sunlight, and I'm not in a house where I live, and the lamp switch did not work, so I don't know what to do.
Put your camera light, your phone camera light on.
Yes, but now the background here on the slide was very dark, so.
Fair. Okay, we'll move to the next slide if there is any, for your convenience. Nope, it's still a dark slide. Q&A. Let's get into the Q&A. I hope that Richie logged everything on Discord or can share them either in Discord or chat. Richie, help me out here, please. Let's see, or post your current questions in Discord if you have any. We'll run through them
So
ASAP.
we made a document to store stuff in, and I do have questions here.
Awesome. Okay.
Lafungo asked, do these metrics for 2023 and moving forward, including F1 and other potential T-Sport wikis, will those be considered separately from the esports wikis? I think I'll take and answer this one myself. Wow, that's such a hobby. I think, I mean, it's all of them, I assume, all 3 slides. So the way we look at our data is that we want to segregate our analytics down to as many tiny things as possible. So we should be able to not just look at like T-Sports versus esports wikis, but like each individual wiki on its own for all of these things as well. So yes, T-Sports wiki should be able to, could potentially be looked separately, and we can report on them separately as well.
Yeah, but we'll also report on them in a larger whole, right? Because we want. So the way I also interpret it is, are we going to see T-Sports as very different from esports? And ideally, we want to look at it from a Liquipedia perspective. We don't want one to be second fiddle to the other at all. We want them to be inclusive, because in the end, like, we're moving into Formula One as well, because the Liquipedia community backs it really heavily. So it's for the Liquipedia community not only to venture into T-Sports. It's more so, well, it's a combination of both. But we chose Formula One specifically because the community backs it so heavily, right? And we want to build that community, so we look at the data inclusively as much as we can, but we're able, as you said, to segregate on the individual level to see how individual wikis are performing. Does that answer the question, Lafugo? You can answer that in Twitch chat. I saw that you were active there. In the meantime, we can move to the next question. Oh yeah, it does answer. Cool, thanks.
Right, and the next question comes from Lafungo. It's only Jonathan who wants to ask us questions. And this one is pretty much, it's way deeper though. Regarding the core tenets / values of Liquipedia, what about financial sustainability? Does the employee team currently have a public opinion on how the idea of perpetuating Liquipedia as a source of information ties in with the aspects already mentioned?
Okay, that's a deep question, a cool question too. So let me move to the values slide. So if we look at the values, not only at the values and the core, but also at the core tenets, these is what drive our decisions, right? So if we're looking at the way or the role that financial stability plays, in like allowing us to get to our core tenets, and to make sure there's our reality and to still ensure our values, it's a means to an end, in my opinion. Financial stability is not the goal. We are financially stable at the moment, and we wish to grow, but it's a means to make sure that we can put our values first and put our core tenets first. That's what the way that financial resources tie into these. I hope that answers the question. We're now waiting for Twitch lag.
This user Davama, I don't know who that is. Crypto and NFTs are like still the latest craze. Will Liquipedia jump onto this opportunity at some point?
So that's a really contentious topic, as we've seen on Discord. So I think we might want to. How can I answer this properly? Okay, so the reason why everybody knows that we explored this, right? And we know what the community feedback was. So the community feedback was astonishingly negative, or maybe not even astonishingly. It was overwhelmingly negative. Let's put it like that. So what what we decided after that is that NFTs is definitely a no-go. It doesn't mean that we won't ever explore like contentious topics, because I'm pulling this a bit bigger, but we'll also do it in well, like communicating with the community and making sure that everybody gets a voice on the matter, so that the way um, we're actually looking into this is making sure that we stick to the core values, we stick to the core tenets, and make sure that the business opportunities that we look into fit into that. We're looking to include the community in that a discussion in where the community will have a larger voice in that as well. So yeah, we'll keep you posted on the way that we're doing it. I think that's the best way to currently answer this. And if we look specifically at NFTs, that's not going to happen. If we're looking at crypto, what's the other part of it, Eric? Is that correct? Yeah, I don't see that currently happening. that seems like a very big stretch that the community would not back. So no, we wouldn't.
Denise Ozzy asked, "Are you looking for interns?"
That's a good question. Not currently, but we do have an internship program every year. JW Snorlax is one of them. We might have one in the future, or have a need for one in the future. But there is always, so maybe this is a good one to point out. Obviously, like Rado or Nidra just teased the Formula One community and wiki manager position. We always have the ability for open applications as well. So that is definitely a possibility. If you want to send in an open application, you can definitely do that too.
To add to that, I'm going to say that there's also a question about what you would be an intern for. If your passion is growing tomatoes in your garden, then that's going to be hard to make work at Liquipedia. If you're a software developer or something, that might be a bit easier to make work.
Yeah, I back that. Any other questions?
Yes, Adiko just gave us a three-parter.
Oof.
Obviously, it depends on the community support being, but is Liquipedia more likely to add wikis for new games or for older games?
See, he just added as well. Is there a bias or there or just plain? So, I
It's
think
always bias, first and foremost.
again,
Like-
you should answer this question. I think.
I mean, it would technically it's a Richie question, but he's not here. So, but the way we look at which game to add is all about how likely is it that that wiki will be sustained, and not just we install a wiki and then nothing happens with it. Because it's sort of like a partnership. Like we can install an infinite amount of wikis almost. Not quite, but well, not really realistically, but like at least like 100,000 wikis that are empty should be fine. That's or something like that. It's just hard drives on a server somewhere. But to make them actually work and work for us and not just increase the tech depth of having a shit ton of hard drives lying around for no reason, we want there to be contributors who want to edit it, who want to keep it alive, who want to take it to from the pre-alpha stage to the alpha stage to full wiki. And it's sort of a gamble every time we install a wiki. Like we have a lot of wikis that are not gone very far, and not just because the game died like with Artifact, but because the interest of the esports scene or the people who were interested in setting up a wiki just died out. And so there's like a lot of wikis who are in limbo, alpha wikis or pre-alpha wikis. And that's just where we try to invest in the ones that will be successful or have like community supports. That was a very roundabout way of saying a very short thing. I'm sorry.
That's all right. And I see that Attica said with one of the core tenants being being to be the go-to trusted source, has Liquipedia thought about funding independent investigative journalists for small projects, something akin to Metafy's series of mini docs. So we have not considered this. It's also where we look at the data that we're displaying and the content that's being added to Liquipedia. I don't think, and I'm looking at the rest in this call as well, and everybody who's who wants to weigh in on this, wouldn't lend itself too well for investigative journalism, because it's more so an objective way of phrasing what's publicly available, or collecting publicly available data, right? So that's what we're sticking to from an objective source perspective.
Yeah, we don't want to be the primary source. We want to be like the place where good primary sources gets referenced, sort of.
My cat actually wants to weigh in on this conversation, apparently.
That's nice.
Or she just wants to get out. She wants to get out. Hope that answers your question. Then number 3, there's what barriers exist for Liquipedia to be available in multiple languages, like Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, German, French, etc. I think there's a lot of barriers, and on web it's a bit harder than on app, I believe. On web we have a ton of content that is very different in the kinds of content that are available, which lends itself to, for localization purposes, it makes it very hard to translate everything. Also, with the speed of at which everything is every bit and piece of content is added. Especially for, it's easier for tournament results, obviously, because there's no real need to translate a lot on that page, and there's a lot that we can use to copy from one page to the next, and we have discussed it internally. There is a we're looking into whether that's a possibility, but I also think that maybe Rado can tell more about what the meaning of localization is for us for Liquipedia products, specifically the app.
Yeah, we're gonna look at the app. Actually, the app is set in such a way and presents such information that is actually much easier to localize. And if you remember, like the roadmap image we share, localization is actually on our list of things that we want to do this year. Obviously, we want to start with some like key languages, so Portuguese for the Brazilian community, but Spanish, Russian, whatever other big communities might need localization, might benefit from localization. We obviously want to do this. So yeah, I think the app will make basically the first step in towards localization, and then we can discuss whether it's worth the effort and whether it's even possible to actually localize the LP web.
There you have it.
Yeah. I can add to that. Besides the technical aspect, you also need to take into account you need moderation, and our team does have some knowledge of other languages besides English, but we're still fairly limited in terms of like Tagalog or whatever. Like the big languages we would go to, we don't have people on staff who could help us do that, and it would require quite a big time and hire a lot of people who would oversee like creating these communities and all of that. So it's really, really difficult to translate the wiki, so to say. Not just the technical aspect, which is almost an impossible hurdle in and of itself with MediaWiki in a good way. So yeah, that's why we're very happy with the app.
Maybe a bit of a sneak peek before the app. We are trying to look at software that might help us with making that reviewing purpose easier. So we do have it in the back of our mind. It's not on the forefront of our priorities at the moment, but we do have it in the back of our mind. It's something we'd love to do, but as you already, as the question suggests, there are hurdles that we need to overcome to be able to do it. And then there's a 4, which I think is fun, and everyone here can answer. What was the weirdest interactions you, either individually or as LP as a whole, had with a developer, publisher, or TO this year or in the past? Um, I know Richie has quite a lot of them, I think, and I think he'd have a very hard time choosing.
I've definitely seen a bunch of those as well.
Sorry?
I've definitely seen a bunch of those as well.
Okay, go for it, if you have any
And-
yourself, Alex.
A classic one is that some publishers are just totally removed from esports, and the fact that they have an esports scene. And that's not even necessarily talking about like the Nintendos of this world that sort of try to kill their own esports scene, but there's some that just don't understand the point of like actually getting info out and like getting viewership for that stuff, you know. And that's always a bit weird to me because like some games like League of Legends have these huge leagues going on, and then some publishers are just like, well, I don't care, it's like whatever to me.
My personal favorite is I think that the conversation, or like the instance with Valve in Dota 2 that happened earlier this year, where point calculations were different and weren't necessarily available to us. I found that was a very interesting direct line of contact. We got to something good in the end, right? But it was a,
Was that
a bit of
direct
an
line
awkward
of
situation.
contact?
Yeah, well,
was that
indirect,
direct?
I guess.
Very indirect, very public.
But
very, very. Let's call out Liquipedia instead of like.
I mean, yeah, but it was so awkward at that time as well. Also, when we discussed it internally, it was just so awkward. Like, oh, what do we do about this? How did these points and standings actually get calculated? So yeah, that was my weirdest, not necessarily weird, but most interesting interaction, I think.
I would say EA's lawyers,
Oh, you're right.
but that's just EA's lawyers. I think like the EA community team, the esports community team, great people, have great heart, have a great vision, and then lawyers are lawyers, and just make everything impossible. But
I mean,
that's
to
what
be
they're
fair,
paid
they
for.
really, the community team is a stand-up group because they do really try to leverage and they push back on the lawyers too. So that's really cool to see.
Um,
I have one that comes to mind. I think it was Six Invitational, 2021. Six Invitational being the Worlds or TI equivalent in Rainbow Six. And in group stages, every single social media site or social media platform or account for every single localized language that the Rainbow Six publisher used had different standings at the end of day one. Because every single language calculated tiebreakers differently. And we had several team managers, including, from many teams, and also I think it was the Brazilian publisher branch of Ubisoft also reached out to us about it. And it's like, hey, it's wrong. Like, look at our social media sites, or so like our Twitter is correct. And then we're like, but the English one shows something different, and the French one shows another thing. Yeah. They had it partially sorted out by day 3, partially. They at least used the same one, but now it was incorrect instead.
Rado, you want to add anything?
Me? No, not really.
Okay.
My weird interactions with publishers date back to my journalism days, so not so much it's member of Liquipedia, so I'll leave them for that.
Okay, I see that there's like questions still coming in, so I'm gonna respond first to like question 2B of Attico, and then I'll get to Ronan and Lefungo, etc. Attico asked in follow-up of the funding independent investigative journalists question whether there would be a ethics or fact-checking panel, not just contributors double-checking what they add or what references they use, but a team of employees whose job is to verify the primary sources past some level of trust. So we haven't discussed that as a separate group of people within the employee team. However, we do have the community and wiki management team. They're ultimately there to help with any issues that we might run into from a both community perspective, but also making sure that the wikis and the content quality on the wiki is good. On the wikis is good. So if we're talking about content quality, we're also talking about the references used and things like that. But it's not that they'll be checking everything individually or every resource used individually, but they'll do it at a case-by-case basis if something pops up. An easy example of this is that I think most people here are aware of how privacy law has changed over the last couple of years. We've gotten requests from people who have, specifically players who have pages on Liquipedia regarding what or the personal information that we're showing, and if such a request pops up, our community and wiki management team does jump into or just jump onto the matter, checks whether everything that's stated there is publicly available, or whether the resources or the sources quoted are enough to actually say that it's enough of or a trustworthy reference or a trustworthy source. And if it's not, they'll remove the information where applicable. So it's not the same as a fact-checking panel, but we do have people who, so the community and wiki management team do look into some of these issues as they arise. But it's reactive, not necessarily proactive, and I think what your suggestion is was suggesting is more proactive. I also wonder whether that would even be sustainable because of the sheer amount of content that gets added on a daily basis. It would be very hard to manually check all of that, so yeah, we haven't discussed how we would be able to do that.
Personally, I think it's within the admin team. First and foremost, it's within each wiki's editor group, the active people who are editing, to decide if a source is or isn't a good source. If there's no consensus, you can kick that up to admins, and if admins have issues deciding, then maybe employees. But the idea isn't that the employees have editorial control over the wiki. It's literally that the community has editorial control over the wiki to as high a degree as possible, obviously. If the admin team starts doing really crazy stuff, maybe we would intervene, but I don't think so. Knowing all the people who are on admin team, it's not very likely that it's gonna be a crazy chaos thing. Are we hoping on to the next question?
Yes, I think that your part was a good summary. Thanks.
Should I read?
Yeah, go
Ronan
for it.
asks,
Ronan,
will there
Ron's
be
right.
any changes regarding inactive wikis or wikis that have died after its initial hype period? I recall the dormant wikis title flying around for a while, but it's been a while. See wikis like Battalion or Splitgate, where either game has died or editors have left. I think Splitgate is still not launched, so that's a bit hard. But there's definitely other ones that fit the bill on Dormant Wiki. And the Dormant Wiki thing is still a ticket on, I think, Richie's to-do list these days. It's just priority of getting that through is not the highest, and there's always new things popping up that takes high precedent, sadly. But it's still in the to-do. I'm pretty sure for that we want to sort of create that sort of category where it's it would take a bit more work to get a wiki like that started up again, rather than you can just join in a wiki and it's ready to go. You can edit, as a new editor, you can start contributing and it's easy. There's already people out there helping and so on.
Okay, then going into the next question is Lafungo. He has a lighthearted one. If you could choose any new wiki to be added, and assuming there would magically be corresponding community support, which one would you choose? I think the running gag internally has been that I've always voted for a separate Pokemon Unite wiki. I like playing the game casually, and I think the esports scene is fun. but obviously it's Nintendo, so as Alex said, wonder whether they'll be able to sustain it. But internally, like, I've been shut down consistently, so.
But you sure you wouldn't want a Smite wiki?
Yeah, I am very certain I
you,
wouldn't
you,
want
you
to.
don't want your Wikipedia page?
I mean, bygones are bygones, I'd say.
I
I have
think
a
I would
spike.
go and you go ahead.
Oh, no, mine's not gaming related. But if
Yeah.
Wikipedia makes a meme wiki, I'd be very happy.
So we would be a direct competitor to Know Your Meme. That's
Yeah,
that's,
because yeah, that site sucks.
Fair.
I think I would go for a football wiki simply because even if we can get a small share of that scene, that would be a massive amount of page views on our website.
not going with your heart, then you're going with your wallet, Alex.
I mean, I
No
don't know what
chess
you think
wiki,
my
Alex.
heart would be, but chess would certainly not be it.
I'd go for a Company of Heroes wiki, only because I've been third place in a Company of Heroes tournament back in 2008 or something.
I used to follow hockey, so I'd like an NHL wiki, to be honest. Do a hockey wiki. Let's go.
If you play hockey, it has to be field hockey.
No, this includes running, so I'm against that.
Okay, moving into the next one.
No, I didn't answer.
Oh, wait, that's right.
And I would want a wiki that covers places where you can find changing stations for your child. It's
Oh, big fan.
You
really
want to
really
exchange your
annoying.
child for something else, or
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's exactly what a changing station for a child is, Radoslav. It's not where you change diapers on your child, because this is like you go to a place and you ask if they have changing station, and it's in the women's toilet. Like, I can't go in there. It's terrible.
That raises a whole separate discussion
Yeah,
about
yeah,
whether
but,
men
but
are able to change their kids in the ladies' toilets.
yeah, which usually is not okay. So usually gets weird looks. If I ask them the follow-up question, so can I go in there? It's not usually okay. Right, next one. AI, from Adiko. AI blew up this past month, and although it's nowhere near being able to use at a large scale on something like Liquipedia, I'm wondering if you mates had a go with things like ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot and had any ideas as to how these tools could eventually help you in your work in the future. We were actually, Victor Nazgul put me and Job aside and was trying to pitch us that we should really, really investigate heavily into AI like a month or two ago.
Nah, well, yeah, that was long ago. Steve Hansen did at some point as well.
Yeah.
I think that the brief of this is obviously we've not been neglecting AI. We've been looking into it, right? Is there a way to actually use this? Also ethically, I think that's very important. Also to stick to our core values, especially with being objective. Currently it's kind of hard. Like, the only use case we thought of was, oh, maybe if there's a team without a bio or a player without a bio, we might be able to use it. But then how are we going to get our references? How are we going to get our sources? Because it's not adequately quoting sources and things like that. So at this point, no. But we are keeping it in the back of our mind that we might want to leverage this at one point in the future. But obviously, this would need to be then discussed with the community, because it's not something that we, like Eric said a couple of questions ago, as employees, we do not want to be in control of the content. So if we are going to do this, it would be contributor driven. So it would start with the community. Maybe the conversation doesn't start with the community, but if we would implement it, we do it together with you.
I want to add to that there's also some legal considerations still. Like GitHub Copilot has been verbatim putting out things from other people's code, and it's anything but clear at the moment if this is actually legal. And before that's gone through the courts, I would rather not touch it.
I mean, I would like to not have to like code modules or learn how to code modules, but I don't think it's possible to get it to do like, hey ChatGPT, can you make me the code so I can make this graph on Liquipedia? I think we're too small still for that to be the case.
Have
But
you
I'll
tried?
try. No, I will try
There
now.
you go.
Yeah, I will try. So there we go. Adiko. That's what the idea we have. Salo will use it to make graphs on Liquipedia.
There's one actually fun thing that we had looked into the strategy and our core focuses for next year, and monetization and things like that. And I think Jordy from a UI UX team, who also worked on the app, asked ChatGPT what our strategy should be and what our brand should be, and it came pretty close. It didn't really nail it, but came close enough that we were like, huh, this is suspicious. Does it have access to our files? Because it references specific parts that we use in our files.
I
I
mean,
was talking
yeah.
with a friend literally yesterday, and he works for a pretty big corporation, and they had written out like a business plan basically, right? And like senior management or whatever. And then he and a few of his colleagues literally asked ChatGPT, what should the business plan for insert company here be? And it was almost a carbon copy of their internal documentation that 10 senior executives had worked on for 6 months.
Yeah, so what does that tell us?
ChatGPT is a very good business strategist.
Yes.
No, it can actually. I mean, it could also help us do social media much more. Like create like 10 social media posts that we can schedule every day for a week, and it can actually do that sort of stuff. But then it becomes pretty, I don't know, iterative and not great. I did ask one to write a reason or how to like convince someone to become an editor of Liquipedia, and I thought it was actually pretty good.
Given that GPT is mostly just a predictor of what the next word is, it could also mean that executives are just too predictable and not actually worth the money.
It may or may not have been his conclusion as well.
So, next question, I guess. Denise Ozzy asks, considering Liquipedia wikis have social media accounts on Twitter, are there any plans to expand the social media platforms Liquipedia is in? So we also have a Facebook, is it page? I can't remember. Group, something like that. I think page. We have our Instagram accounts. We have Reddit accounts and a subreddit which we've closed, like just so no one can take our name, pretty much. So definitely, there's been plans for other platforms. We talked about TikTok when it started blowing up in 2020. Obviously, we didn't go in because making video content is like way more time consuming than making written content like a tweet. And it's also not like there's not link outs in the same way on TikTok as there is on like Twitter, so we can't like drive traffic to our site. And I think Hesketh answered a lot of these things in chat, but like there is a lot of extra cost when you want to do a post that works on both like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter than if you just want to make a tweet. But definitely, like we have ideas and plans. It's just like finding the way of doing it, I guess, cheaply enough for it to be worth it, because social media can cost a lot without giving a lot back. And so we don't want to like start spending lots of money on social media when we don't get like return on investment from it. we're a very lean little business unit in that sense. Whoa, we're going through slides. There's a little button you can like jump through slides like
No,
by
I
the
can't
number.
at the moment.
You can't? Okay. Okay, that was trippy. Spacer asked, any concrete plans for the esports wiki? They're not concrete plans, but there's definitely like plans that me and Vogan sort of drew up ages ago.
We've discussed some internally as well. We've just not solidified them, I think.
Yeah, it's once we have like LPDB set up across all the wikis fully in one standard, it will be much easier to start implementing cool stuff on the wiki. And we would need like someone who can implement cool stuff on the wiki to have time to do it. But Rickard is very busy, so until every wiki is code unified. So, and that's a little bit more important, like that all wikis work well, than that the esports wiki is super fruitful.
I think it goes hand in hand eventually, right? We want the standard, like we need to have it standardized in order to use it.
Speaking of standardization, the egg needs to leave. So any outstanding brand and visual questions, I will
don't
come
think
back.
there are, but if
Oh.
there are, I'll let you know.
Fantastic.
And then we can also answer them in Discord. So yeah, thank you very much for gracing us with your presence, Egg.
Yes, and I'm happy to join, happy to talk to the Liquipedia community. I will draw scribbles for anybody who asks, maybe. But thank you guys, and continue as you were. Bye!
Awesome. Bye,
Bye.
Tiff.
I kind of have to join the egg as well in leaving. So
I think we don't have too many questions left. Do we have any left?
There's one about the app from
No.
Camo that was left.
Which one, sorry?
Oh,
there's
it's the
one
transfer.
about
Yeah, Jasper Jacobs asked if there's any plans in the future for the app to have transfer news.
Yeah, so we absolutely do want to include those in the app. I think we actually need to retouch how we do transfers on web first. Again, we need Rickard's help for this. So the moment he's actually free from all of his projects, we're gonna look at it. But yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to do this for this year's transfer windows, which are usually around, well, like November, like after Worlds, after TR, after the majors. But we definitely want to have them in the app. Absolutely, transfers and shuffle roster mania, hugely important for a lot of the big esports. So yeah, sooner or later they will be in the app.
Awesome. Okay. Since we're running about 45 minutes over time as well, let's round it up here. I do want to say to everyone that I really appreciated you coming out and listening to us chat about Liquipedia, but also to ask the questions. It was really appreciated. I think it was pretty awesome to have everyone here. That being said, I hope you all have a great rest of the Saturday and a great Sunday as well. And we'll hope to see you around in Discord. Okay. Bye, everyone.
bye bye.